What's up, people? If you're coming back, then welcome back. Hello, Anton, welcome back. So what are your thoughts on ghosts then? Do you believe in any of that stuff, or is that some kind of... Some people might believe it's like demons or something like... But I really can't be asked in arguing with this sort of shit, because it's all very subjective kind of stuff. It's like people just talk about their experiences and like... Because I haven't experienced it myself, I can't validate it. But anyway, what's up everybody? Thank you for the like. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. What's that? I don't believe it to be the dead. What do you mean? What do you mean you don't believe it to be the dead? What is it then? Well, people believe it's like some kind of like, you know, spirits without a body or something, like they're just floating around and like... Anyway, welcome in everybody, hope you've all had a good day. So this out if you can. Hello Azad, welcome back. How are you doing tonight everybody? Hope you're all doing well. So maybe you can elaborate a bit more, Anton, to what you actually mean. But yeah, if you've got any questions, put them in the chat. It's weekend here. Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah, weekend indeed. Yeah. Yeah, so if anybody's got any questions, put them in the chat. Share this if you can. Hello to you, Tanya. Welcome in here. How are you doing tonight? Make sure you subscribe if you're new here, people. Hello, Rido. Good to see you again. Not too bad, thank you. Hope you're doing well yourself. But yeah, so I've got some plans for the future, like I said, with the traveling, and I'm thinking about incorporating some wild camping, and I want to start using for that. So my plan is to just like live like a nomadic lifestyle and just travel. That was something I was thinking about for a while, but I was thinking about just maybe traveling like that, and then maybe even at times just traveling around the world as well on holidays and whatever. I'm watching a documentary about the falling birth rate in the UK. Oh yeah, is it like they're saying it's going down below replacement level? And yeah, but some people are saying that like how you've got people coming into this country who give birth a lot because of their religion, and yeah, some people are saying that it could end up being to where like people who have, you know, basically not, you know, like these people could start to become like, you know, the majority, shall we say. Hello to you, Wendy. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. Welcome, Wendy. If anybody's new here, subscribe, please. Also, like the live and share the live. I don't believe in the existence of an immortal soul. What do you mean? What do you mean? I thought that's what God, people who believe in God, right? So what you mean, immortal soul? I don't understand, like, what you mean by, you know, you talk about, like, your religion stuff and your God, whatever, and it's like, because, you know, I don't know if, like, maybe there's some people who believe in God, but they don't believe in eternal life or something like that. I don't quite understand, like, what your beliefs are, really. It's like, maybe you can explain a bit more, like, what you actually believe, because I don't really get it. Anyway, because the whole like heaven and hell thing and all that, and I suppose not everybody that what's this? The Bible says the dead are conscious of nothing, right? So like, so what you're saying that like there's no such thing as heaven and hell then? I don't quite understand like what the you know. Apparently Gen Z are not having kids or even getting into a relationship. Yeah, a lot of them aren't really. Yeah, it's become like, if you look at like the statistics on, especially men between the ages of 20 to 29, I think almost 2/3 of them are single. Odds against it all, yeah. Yeah, no, it is what it is, you know. It is, yeah. It's not looking so good. Nobody wants a used girl. Nah. Yeah, a lot of guys are just deciding, you know what, I'm just gonna go my own way. Yeah, and then also there's females that are like, you know what, I'm just gonna go my own way too because they're sick of being messed around by guys that don't really care. But the thing is though, a lot of these women will like complain about, oh, but these men are, you know, being, you know, they're using me for sex, and it's like, well, but you just, like, you know, you use it, but it's like you let them use you for that though. You opened yourself up to that. No, hell, and only 144,000 go to heaven. The rest get an earthly resurrection. What does that mean then? An earthly resurrection? Well, I thought you said you don't believe in an immortal soul or something like. I don't know. Anyway, we can get a good deal still. All right. So why do only 144,000 people get to? Doesn't that mean that he's like picking favourites then? Isn't that like unfair? I mean, that's what I've heard some people going on about 144,000 souls and all this shit. But it sounds a bit culty to me personally, but I don't know. Like I've heard people going about, you know, like the sounds like bollocks. Yeah, it doesn't sound right to me personally, but you know, each to their own, I guess. It just sounds very culty to me. Then people start believing that they're one of the 144,000 souls. But yeah, I try to keep an open mind though. But I think Gen Z are doomed. I think Gen Alpha will sort a lot of these demographic problems out. Will it not just keep getting worse though? Because some people believe that Gen Alpha is just going to, you know, with all this like brain rot and everything, and it's just going to get worse and worse. But we'll see, won't we? You know, we'll see how things pan out. You know, is it gonna? You know, I guess it just has to get worse before it gets better or something. And it'll be interesting to see how things pan out. Will things ever get better? But all I'm seeing is there is a dating, you know, modern dating crisis right now that you could say it's unprecedented. Like you know, like the issues that a lot of the younger people are now dealing with when it comes to, you know, like they're struggling to find a good partner to date, and both men and women. So dating apps all about quick sex, and yeah, that's not something I'm interested in anyway. So I'm like, why would I want to use an app like that for something just for like instant gratification like that, you know? A God of love doesn't condemn to eternal torment. One either is resurrected or not. Right. Okay. So you're commenting in my video now. I haven't commented on your video. How are we doing tonight, everybody? Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. What is Gen Alpha? I've never heard of it. It's after Gen Z. You know how you got all these generations, like you've got the Boomers, the Gen X, the Millennials, the Gen Z, and then you've got Gen Alpha. So yeah, what's up, people? Most men are heartbroken and ragging out women for revenge. Yeah, I've heard that that's why some men turn into like degenerates, because they've been messed around. But you've got to remember that a lot of these women, some of these women have been messed around themselves. It just seems like everyone's just messing each other around, but it's like, you know, we need to break the cycle of all this nonsense of like people trying to mess each other around. Otherwise, people will just continue to do it. Like it'll be this never-ending cycle of just like people trying to hurt each other. So yeah, it's like, you know, getting revenge like that isn't a good way of like. All it's going to do is just make them even more bitter, make them more like. It might give you a sense, you know, if you're going to do that, and to give you a temporary sense of satisfaction, but it's just going to make you feel like, yeah, how's it going, Asia? It's just going to get, you know, you're going to be lowering your oxytocin hormone, your pair bonding hormone, the more and more that you keep sleeping around with people. It's not going to do you well. Like, there's been studies that back this up, so, you know, it's an actual science that, yeah. Gen Z seems like they aren't allowed to grow up normally. They are still living at home at the age of not by choice. Yeah, I understand that, because a lot of them are like, because of the cost of living crisis and everything, it's just, a lot of people are struggling, so they're like, you know, I don't want to like go live on my own, because then I've got to pay for this expensive rent or something, or try and get yourself an expensive mortgage. But I think people just need to take a bit more responsibility, and like I said, you know, invest your money into things that are gonna, you know, do you well in the long run. And maybe 27, right? No, I'm not giving a blue jacket. Anyway, make sure you subscribe if you're new here, people. That would be really appreciated. At home at the age of 30, purely by choice. I mean, I guess it depends on like what you mean. Like, I suppose you could argue they could have like tried harder to like, you know, have made it by that age. Like, you could say like by, you know, 25k maybe, but yeah, 30 years old. Like, what have they been doing for that whole amount of time? A lot of them have been like, you know, going partying at the weekends. So you could argue that they could have done more, because a lot of them are just a bunch of degenerates. A lot of these younger ones now who just, I don't know, they don't actually have any real aspirations, and they're just smoking weed all the time, and these things are expensive as well, so they're, you know, killing their creativity, and they're just blowing a bunch of money up in smoke. Like, yeah. The choice of whether or not they want to be able to afford to live. What you were saying, that you can't get to the age of 30 and blame the world and the cost of living for your lack of achievements. Yeah, I agree to an extent, yeah, because I think that, you know, if you look into like, you know, like the actual cost of living, if you want to just, let's, you know, do some mathematics real quick. Even if you've got like for the average person, if you've got a, you know, can I say even a minimum wage job, and you're on maybe like 20,000 a year, and then you earn a few extra thousand on the side doing delivery or something like that, you could probably pocket about £15,000 a year. So if you put all that money into an index fund for like, let's just say you do this at like, I don't know, I think you have to be in your 20s to like actually be, I mean, I suppose like, you know, your minimum wage is like lower if you say like 18 years old. But let's say you're earning, I don't know, 12,000 a year minimum. Like, let's just say, because you're living at home with your parents when you're 18, let's say, and you're like, but you might only, let's say you do some extra stuff on the side, you do delivery and you're earning another few quid on the side, and you're like, you know, per hour. So like, let's say you're earning 20k a year in total. Even, you know, say you're 18 and you're living with your parents, and you might only need like a few £100s a month for, you know, essentials, and you do that for like, say, let's say you can pocket 10,000 a year, would be a little bit conservative. Hello, King Groove, good to see you. Hope you've had a blessed day today. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. Welcome back, Stephen. So basically what I'm saying is most people at that age could probably pocket £10,000 a year easily. You know, like if they actually worked hard enough. So if you put like, you know, let's just say you put that into an index fund, you might be making, you know, a few £100s a year in your first year, and then you put another 10,000 the second year, and you keep putting money into it. You put your money into something, whether it's an index fund, whether it's some kind of like, you know, like stocks and shares or whatever it might be, to generate more and more money over time, whether it's, you know, like lending money out to people, whatever it might be. Whether it's, you know, even maybe you could then, you know, buy property to rent out or something. But, you know, these are options that you can look into, and you can pretty much be bowling by the time you're 25, probably, if you do things right. You know, if you're from 18 up to 25, and, you know, you can be light years ahead of most people. 2-minute silence. Why do we want a 2-minute silence? Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that is true, Rido. Yeah, that's some people will just like choose to, you know, take the easy way out. So yeah, that's the thing. It's like, to be fair, I don't really blame people in a sense, because it's like, you know, that because the way that the system works, it's like, you know, it's like it's rewarding people for doing nothing, and then taking money away from those who are working the hardest. So then people are like, you know what, fuck this, you know, because they could just like take money from the system, then do some like secret kind of stuff on the side. I'm not saying people should necessarily do this, but like you could be doing some like, you know, like cash in hand job or something, where you're not getting any tax deducted from that, where you're on, say, like, I don't know, 12 to, sometimes you're on like £15 an hour. Let's say you would do a cash in hand job for a Chinese or something like that, and you're on £15 an hour, let's say. And because it's all cash in hand, it's not being, you know, it's not being monitored. Or maybe you do some like odd like jobs for people, repair jobs or whatever for people, you know, like fitting a door or something like that. Some of these jobs you can be on 30 to like £50 an hour. You know, if it's a little bit more skilled, you know, you just do these things on the side, and you're like, you know, you'd be doing better than most people on a freaking full-time job. You know, this is the fucking craziness of it, like that someone could be working hard all day for like, let's say, I don't know, 20,000 a year on a minimum wage job, doing shit they don't want to be doing, dealing with people that they hate. Then you've got people who are getting, let's say, 12,000 a year, you know, like for doing nothing, and then they can earn double. So let's say they earn 24,000 a year for like just a little bit of, you know, they do a bit of cash in hand, you know, kind of secret kind of stuff. Universal Credit pays nursery fees. So yeah, that's it. You know, they pay. Sometimes they can get a good house, you know, and things like that. They can get like, you know, if they get like, say, they get a family, and then they get a freaking house, you know, like granted for them. Basically, you know, they get like a 3-4 bedroom house granted to them, and then like it's just like, yeah. So you've got the person struggling with a fucking one bedroom flat, who's like working all day, and then you've got the person who's the families who just like bumming off like the state with a 3-4 bedroom house, and just like, yeah, just being like deadbeats, and just like, you know. Yeah, you work hard, you get nothing, but they have to pay lots of tax. Yeah, that it's
rent's going up because of housing benefit, then hardworking people have to compete, so you are well off if you're on housing benefit doing some and work. Yeah, like this is what I mean. It's like, but you know, it's not something I think that people should be doing as a lifestyle necessarily. It's like, you know, unless you like absolutely need it, like say you've got like disabilities and things like that, then it's like, okay, you know, you need some kind of like assistance. But I think even then it's like, some people, you could argue that they could find something that they could do online, or that doesn't require them to leave their house, and you know, if they've say got anxiety or something like that, they could find something that is suitable for them. But Pisces, my sister pays almost $290. What's that for? Universal credit, get free school meals, trips paid for, school uniform grant. Yeah, I know. But then the people who work hard, and they're just like, yeah, it's just, I know, it's like, and then it's like, if you're on that, you don't have to pay all these taxes. It's like, if you're working even on a minimum wage job, you already start paying tax. So if you're working, let's say, more than 30 to 40 hours a week, then you're, because as soon as you go over, just over 12,000, I think it's 12,500, I think it is, something like that, you start to pay tax, anything above that. So let's say you're on 20,000, I think it's not 20% of that, but it's like, it's 20% of anything above 12,500, I think it is. Hello, Sally Jane. $2,000 a month for one kid childcare in the US, really? Is that what it costs, you mean, for the childcare? Like I said, some people are getting all the, like, the school uniform and everything for free, but then some people might be doing dodgy stuff on the side where they're not, you know, telling anybody about it. Like, they just start a secret online business where they're, you know, maybe getting crypto or something like that. They're getting, like, you know, some kind of, you know, like, they have their ways of getting around things, and even things like through PayPal, for example, like, they're not really looking at a lot of this stuff, are they? I mean, like, if you have, like, you know, you could have ways of, like, you know, kind of transferring money and, like, into different accounts. Like, you could, there's ways around it. You know, you could probably, if you know people, and you can just, like, you know, move money around, and, like, we transfer it into someone's account as a gift or something, and then it's just a very kind of, like, yeah, you know, it's just or someone might even just go out and freaking busk or something for like an hour a day or something, and just like make an extra, you know, like a few £100 a week or something in some cases. Yeah, it's all like, yeah, it's all, yeah, you get all these benefits, so like, but, so you can't exactly blame people, but at the same time, it's like, you know, but at the same time, it's like, it can make you feel like you don't have a purpose in life, and it can really sort of isolate you from society. So I think there's a problem of, like, if everyone starts to do that, because they're talking about bringing in universal basic income. Yeah, it's like an unemployment benefit, basically. There are some people who still get it when they do a bit of work, where, for example, they let people have it up to a certain amount of, like, I think it might have been, I don't know if it was one of the benefits, or they let you have a certain amount of money every month without it affecting your benefits, basically. I think you're allowed to earn a few £100 a month from the job before they start to deduct it. So if you're, say, earning, I don't know, let's say you're doing, you know, a few £100, but it's like I said, some of them might not even declare it, because then it's like, you know, they've got to make sure they're not earning over a certain amount of money every month, because then it starts to get taxed. So they would have to do things in secret, basically. And that's, yeah, it's kind of dodgy, but yeah. Are you here? What? Yes, I am there. Yeah. Anyway, what's up, everybody? Make sure you subscribe if you're new here, people. That would be really appreciated. To qualify for free childcare, you have to be crazy poor here in the US. I didn't qualify when me and my ex-husband only made $9 an hour each in 2011. Wow, so that's yeah. So yeah, they're kind of not very. It's not very socialist, is it, in America? It's a lot more kind of like, yeah, about self-responsibility and be kind of like more capitalistic, I would say. But in this country, like, there's more. I think there's more benefits here, if I understand it correctly. There's more welfare and things like that. Yeah. It's fine, just no one is having kids. Yeah, we were talking about like the falling birth rates in the UK especially, and just the West in general. Hello Foxy, how you doing? Good to see you again. So yeah, I think that could be an issue, and there's people are a bit concerned about it with like that they're starting to bring in robots to try and look after the elderly. So I think they've already started to do that in Japan, because I heard about, because Japan has an aging population and there's not enough young people being born to be able to deal with the elderly, and so that's like they're trying to bring these robots in to replace the people basically. So because there's this thing about like Japan has like one of the world's longest life expectancies, and they're like sort of yeah. Some people on universal credit have a better hourly rate than medics or lawyers. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like, yeah, especially if they start a family and they're like getting all these, like I said, they get all these the housing benefit for that. They get the all the equipment, like your everything. They get grants for so many things. So yeah, that would make sense. A lot of them will be better off. So remember there was this TV program about scroungers or something like that, and one of them was going to get put up in a £500,000 house. I think they ended up not doing it because of all the outrage about it, because that would really kind of piss a lot of people off. But the thing is, they were saying themselves that, well, they would work if the job was going to pay them more than what they were getting for the benefits. So it's like, you can't blame them in a sense, but at the same time, it's like they're not really doing anything for society. They're just kind of leeching. So yeah, it's just like kind of, you could say it's selfish, but it's like people are just kind of opportunists at the end of the day. There's yeah. Yeah, that would be it. Like, to kind of like, so probably a lot of people would be on if they found out like what their tax. I'm sure I heard somewhere. I think it might be something like a third of taxes going to welfare or something like that. I can't remember exactly how much it is, but a lot of it's going to things like well, I'm not sure exactly how much, but there's quite a lot going to things like wars, like proxy wars, things like that. Buying weapons, trying to, interfere in other people's wars that are not ours. So it's like, how's it going, Charmaine Angwin? How you doing tonight? Hope all is well with you. Welcome in here. Yeah, like the Ukraine war, for example. Any wars really, like the Iraq war and all these, like Afghanistan war or whatever. Like all these Middle Eastern wars and like foreign aid, all these things. It's like they're not putting their own country first. Like, we have our own problems to sort out. And that might sound selfish, but it's like, would these people actually give a damn about us though, in these countries? Would they actually help us? if we were like in the same situation. I don't think so. So like, why are we, spending so much money to help these people out that probably wouldn't even do the same for us in the same situation? So like, yeah. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well tonight. Charity begins at home. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. It's like literally at home. Like, you focus on the people in your home. Like, if you got family, you really just like focus on helping those and your friends and anyone within your close circle. Just like, the thing is, you get the people putting their money into charities, and it turns out a lot of them are corrupt, and you're just, a lot of the money is just going to these fat cats and these, these CEOs. I mean, you're better off if you're going to put money into a charity, it's probably best to find a local charity that's you can actually see where your money is actually going to, and it's not just going to some greedy fat cats. So, for example, things like cancer research or whatever, and all these big charities, it's like, how much of your money is actually going to research in that thing? It's like, how much is actually really? So when you actually look into the statistics, it's probably going to be quite disappointing, isn't it? I bet a lot of these charities are quite sort of corrupt in a sense, like. But I just don't really trust anything anymore. So I just saw this video about how remember that show called Pimp My Ride? And it was like so fake. A lot of it was like it was like rehearsed. It was like, and then they would do all these mods to these cars. A lot of the times it wasn't even practical. That they couldn't even really use the mods. It would cause issues in the car, and it was just, it was just absolutely just like. It's like, when you're seeing it at the time, you think it's all real and all that, and 5 to 2%, yeah, that's what it is. I've heard, like the amount that actually goes to the charity. It's also these scroungers pay nothing for healthcare. We pay for their healthcare too. It's like each working person has more dependents. Many of them adults. Yeah, basically. But yeah, it's just, like there's just, like I said, so much crap that you see, like on the TV, on the news. You can't really trust it. So yeah. So when you hear anything about, and even like when you hear about like things to do with wars and stuff, how much of it is actually true, like the narrative on it. I just don't really buy into things anymore. Like there's all this like woke crap, and there's like, like they push a certain narrative that, of like toxic masculinity, and it's just like whatever. I'm just like sick of hearing it all. Yeah. I am working healthcare, US healthcare. Oh yeah. So how's that then? I've heard it's got a lot of problems. Luminary healthcare, what's that about? Luminary healthcare. Thank you for the 11 likes, everybody. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. It said the first casualty of war is the truth. Yeah. It's like, so much lies and deception, and oftentimes these wars are just a bunch of greed they use some excuse, like they'll be like, oh, blah, 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 but it all comes down to people's greed, people wanting to extract resources. It's what a lot of it's about. It's like, you look at, like, say, like the war, like the Iraq war, there were probably a lot of resources that they were trying to tap into, and it was just an excuse to just, like, this whole, war on terror thing. It's like, it all seemed like a big excuse to just like, to go to war when there was not actually any, like real threat there. It was just like a kind of a lot of fear mongering, and then that was what they would probably use the media as a way to try to gaslight people into trying to comply with these bullshit things. It's like they use the media as like the kind of propaganda machine to push a certain agenda. All these corporations, these weapons manufacturers are probably, they probably have, some, like influence in these things, because these are the people that benefit. The banks also benefit from it. So when it comes to all these things, like, and also, like I said, they're extracting resources, so then that the government can also benefit. So if you look at all these people at the top, corporations, the government, the banks, and they're all, profiting. Also the media profits massively when there's big events going on. So they want to try and hype up these things to then, incentives are all effed, exactly. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, it's just, when all your money's going to these things, and then, it ends up making these corporations richer, whilst the poorest of people are the worst off. So I think that, when it comes to, like, people talk about inequality and all that, then maybe we should be trying to focus on some of these issues that, like, when we're people sending money into proxy wars, when it should be that they should be focusing on our people that are, Stephen, welcome back. They're struggling. You've got homeless people in this country, but they'll send money to, to help a war out in a foreign country. It's just completely just like, it's just like, it's corrupt to the core. Like, it's like there's just no one seems to really care that much, or they've just been that brainwashed that think that it's actually unnecessary. Basically it's all at the expense of the impoverished. Okay, Mags. All right, so it's just basically like that. It all ends up being at the expense of those that are the worst off, like the basically stealing from the poorest of people to then give to the richest, because that's what happened with the we had the 2008 financial crash. He cut the fuel allowance to pensioners. Oh yeah, the Keir Starmer, just a fucking what a traitor, Basically, like, what was I going to say? Like, like how basically like the taxes and all that, and just like taking money from the poor to the rich. It's like, if they really, it's like these so-called leftists, like, shouldn't they be like about trying to reduce the amount of like government to like basically be not so kind of much stealing from the poorest of people who are, not doing that well. Like you were saying about the, taking the allowance from like these, poorest of people. So, it's just, people are left to their own devices with it, and just, they're like, you have to just kind of figure things out for yourself. So, I do think that, people need to become more self-responsible. Like I was saying before, you can knack it if you want to, but a lot of people don't know how to, though. I think a lot of people haven't really been guided the right direction with things. They haven't got good role models, and I think that's a big part of it, that people haven't, maybe their family that is just not very supportive of them. They don't really give them the good direction. Maybe they're just out of touch, because things that worked back in their day might not work now. The inflation with the resources and housing now here in the US is way worse than 2008. I've been an adult living on my own during both. Yeah, because the thing is, right, they're going about recessions, yeah. They're going about the recession, like 2008. Keep going on about that, but things didn't really seem that bad, relatively speaking, for like the average person. But I think it was more of like a, I don't know. But the thing is, though, they end up like there was that austerity from that. I think was the issue, but compared to like the cost of living crisis, you could say it was for the average person. But if you look at like the richest people now, they're getting richer and richer. So this is why they're saying there's not a recession, because the GDP is still increasing. So how is that happening and people are getting poorer? People need to start asking these questions of like, what the hell is going on with the wages? Why they're not keeping up with inflation? Why are these prices going up? And they're making more and more profits, because if things are really that bad in the economy to where like, that they can't afford to pay people good wages, then why are they doing better than ever then? If you look at things like the S&P 500 and it continues to go up in price. Yeah, welcome in, William. How you doing? I'm not getting good at a roommate. You're not the one to get a roommate. I make $32 an hour and spend half of my income on my apartment. Yeah, a lot of people are struggling. Depends on where you live though, because where I'm at now, it's only like £400 odd a month, so it's not really that bad. Like, I'm on a suburb, so it's quite out the way, and it's it's kind of like somewhat cheaper here than it is like in the centre. GDP per capita is falling in the UK, right? So that's like the so you're talking about the relative GDP, because it's like you've got GDP like as in like because of like the increase, because population is increasing, then the overall GDP is going up, but like that can be misleading because per 100,000 people it's going down. So yeah, because if people can't afford to actually like invest their money as much, then that's going to lead to less productivity, because you've got people have less sort of capital to buy things and actually but the thing is though, these rich people, they're still profiting record levels. That you got these billionaires that keep increasing their profits despite things becoming worse in the economy. So you've got to question like, how is it that they're still making more money over inflation, but yet, do you think Nigel Farage will become Prime Minister? I don't think so, but we'll see. It's just, it's like, I don't know. I don't know really, because people always tend to vote for like Labour or Conservatives, so yeah, GDP per capita, I'll have to look into that, but because if they talk about like a recession, then it should be GDP per capita, because that's a more important kind of metric, I would say, rather than the overall GDP, because that could be misleading and make it seem like the economy is still going well when it's actually starting to stagnate and starting to like that's the thing. It's like you've got a lot of these younger people talk about like how a lot of people are just kind of giving up on anything. Like they're hearing a lot of people are dropping out of society. You've also got like some people are just deciding to move away from the country, but you're just left with a lot of people who just don't really want to bother at all. They just kind of decide, what, I'm just giving up. I'm just going to live on welfare. That's what a lot of them are doing. They'll find a way to just bum on welfare, and it's like, so then you're going to have the GDP fall from that if that continues, which is going to end up harming the economy. So yeah, but if you're actually on the welfare, you're not going to care about that because you're getting everything given to you. But for everybody else, they're going to suffer as a result. So like it causes more and more inflation, because inflation, the definition of inflation is more, was it more money chasing fewer goods and services? So you're like, so you're printing more and more money, but yet there's less and less products and services being produced because, I mean, a lot of it's just the fact that there's no one actually there to actually produce them. But yet there's people struggling to get jobs. It's so odd because like you've got these ghost jobs where like people are applying on these online things, on things like LinkedIn, to get a job that doesn't even exist. These ghost job postings. It's absolutely insane. Like, I know I asked that question to inflation is so high, but Jake Paul has made $45 million for a 30-minute fight. Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? You know, when these people are like that, and then you've got people who are struggling. So yeah. Well, I mean, I would say that none of them are really that good, to be honest. I don't know. I don't. To be fair, it seemed like for us, seemed a bit more kind of. It didn't seem to be as kind of like authoritarian when it came to like the COVID shit. So yeah, he was like not pro lockdown, was he? He was like when the lockdown was saying he was saying how like people should still be able to like run their businesses and stuff, but I don't know. It's just some people just try and be like the opposition just to try and win over a certain crowd of people. As the currency decreases in value, it takes more money to buy goods. Yeah, this is what I mean with with the central banking, like basically it's the government actually creating all this debt because they're going to the printing press to print more money out of thin air. So this is debt. Every time you print out one of these banknotes, you're creating debt. It's a debt economy that we're in. So people should be taught about these things at school. If they were, then maybe we wouldn't be in this mess, but it seems as though they don't want to have people think critically and have real understanding of how the system works, how printing more money won't bring more value, it decreases value. The more the money is being reprinted, it decreases the value of the currency. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you look at like places like, for example, London, where there's a lot of money flowing around, the money is worth a lot less because of but the thing is though, that's okay because it's rich. There's a lot of wealth, there's the high GDP per capita in London. Whereas somewhere like Sunderland or Bradford, for example, has fuck all GDP going on, and that's why things are so cheap there. So, but when you're just printing money out of thin air, artificially increasing the prices of things, and but then the wages should be keeping up with that then, but they're not. Even if they try and increase the minimum wage, middle bracket earners tend to be not doing any better in their wages, which means actually they're going to be doing a whole lot worse because so if you look at like the average wage in the UK from like, I don't know how true this was, but this guy, I watched a video where he was talking about wanting to leave the UK, and he said in 1987, the average person, I think, earned about 19,000, I think he said £19,200 a year. This is the average person in the UK, 1987. £19,200 a year. And you know what it is now? £28,000 a year. So it's not even gone up by like 50% in that time. The average earner we're talking about, not minimum wage. Of course, minimum wage has gone up quite significantly, but there used to be a lot more upward mobility, and now it's like, it's just because of all this inflation and all that, it's just, so yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. Need a house. Yeah, the thing, it's like you've got, you know, the house prices are like £300,000 now, but back in the day it was just over £40,000. So you can see why a lot of people are just kind of giving up on the idea of owning a house. Like I was talking about the other day, maybe it's better to just buy stocks or something. Buy an index fund, maybe, because that's gonna, you know, probably be a lot more of a good investment in the long run, potentially, because if you could even say, you know, if you can invest £50,000 into the stock market, if you save up for a few years straight, then within your first year, if you're making 7%, let's say, you know, net returns on the S&P 500, you know, you're looking at about 3,500 in your first year. But the great thing is that over time, if you keep, you know, letting it mount up, you know, after about 10 years, and you're looking at like almost sort of like double that, you might be making 6,000-7,000 per year because of the exponential returns that you're getting. So if you're willing to, like, you know, play the long game with it, yeah, I'd say you'd be more better off doing that than trying to like build equity or something. It all depends really, but even within your first year, and if you just kind of cashed out, like, say, you know, kind of, you're going to be paying off like you probably pay off like a good chunk of your rent just from, you know, just you paying off dividends, you know, because instead of putting your deposit into like into a house, and then you know, instead of doing that, you put a lump sum into you know, some investment. And maybe it's property investment, but it's not a property for you. It's one that you just do up and then you sell it for a profit, maybe, or something like that. And it's like, yeah, you can get loans and stuff, but then you're gonna have to pay you know, like interest on that loan. So I think it's just, there's an opportunity cost to buying a house. Especially nowadays. You know, it used to be so much easier to just buy a house, but now it's like, they should leave my money alone. Yeah. Yeah. Get pregnant and get a council house. Oh yeah. Hello Stephen, welcome back. It's just, you know, like, it's I think it's time to kind of like, you know, like, accept that the whole American dream thing is not really worth going for that. It's a thing that they sold everybody. That, oh, just, you know, work hard, and then you get the white picket fence and all that, and the, you know, two holidays a year, or vacations they call it in America, have a family. You know, that's great and all that if you're, you know, like, back in those days, but times have changed. There's still people trying to say that that's what people should be striving for, like these boomers, because a lot of them don't know any better. A lot of them are out of touch. But, like I say, it's still possible to get a good life for yourself if you invest in the right things. If you invest in, like, if you invest in things like the stock market or something like that, and you can make good returns if you just really aggressively save money and you put it into that. And if you have a few income streams and you can just like put a percentage of all of them into it every year, so if you have a few things like you have some like, I don't know, you could do some like affiliate marketing or whatever stuff on the side, and you just put in some of those profits into that. Obviously, don't put more profit than you're willing to lose, because that's a stupid thing to be doing. But just put in whatever you're comfortable with, a certain percentage of your earnings, and then as long as you've still got enough to live off, you don't want to be banking on it and then with money that you're not willing to lose. But these things generally tend to, in the long run, pay off. You might have a bad year and you might actually be in the minus, but in the long run, these things tend to be, income generating, and you just have to, keep faith in the, in it, that it's going to work out for you, and that. Should we replace universal credit with a charity scheme so that those who want to fund them can, and the rest of us get on with saving for a house? Yeah, this is the thing. It's like, because some people, I think this is the thing, so people should have the freedom to choose. Like when it comes to taxation in general, I think that it should be charities like that, that deal with things like that. Like we would have, my idea of how things should be run is we'd get rid of like these central authorities. We just have like local councils that are run by the people, for the people. We have it as like a kind of charity more so, just kind of like to help run things, to run like the local infrastructure, to run, to have like donations, and they would use like sponsorships and things like that to be able to like help to get funding for it. So they could have, let's say, what would happen is maybe local businesses would like pay to have like their businesses highlighted in their meetings and stuff like that, so that way they can get more exposure, and that way, so they benefit from that, but also the it's actually helping to run the infrastructure. So it's like that could be a way to actually help with that. And yeah, so that could be an idea. And so yeah, like it would be more of like a charity that would, to get welfare for like the people who need it, to run programs for like disabled people, for example, like things such as supported living schemes and stuff like that. The thing is, right, I actually used to live in a supported living scheme, and you would be absolutely shocked at how much this cost, the amount of wasted money on this thing. There was so much bureaucracy, and like there was all these different companies, like there was these, like one company was above the other, and then there was another company above that. It is just absolutely just like there was so much, unnecessary crap. Because I'm on this, like, I'm on the autism spectrum, so I was like put in that for a while, and it was like I didn't really want to go, but it was just like my family was like, oh, you'd be better off going in there, and it's like whatever. But basically, so the cost just for rent alone was like double what it was to the next house, because they could get away with it because they're being paid by the state or by the council, whatever it is. They're being paid by the authorities. Hello, Susanna. To, so basically what's happening, right, is that the government is paying for people to stay there in these, because they're really expensive, right? So they can get away with it because if they don't pay them, then people can't stay there, because they were charging something like 300, this is when I moved in, it was like 300 and something a week, and I think it went to like £400 or more every week. It was almost double that of the houses next to it or something, for the exact same flat. And it's like, these were like basically like dorms, basically. So you were pretty much getting a dorm, and it was like in the centre of York, basically. You was getting a dorm for like, it was costing something like, yeah, almost £400 a week. So like 1,600 a month, basically, I think it was what it was. It might be even more than that now. Because they're so greedy, and because they know that they can get away with it. Because the government will pay them for it. This is a problem when you've got government welfare schemes, things like that, that they'll pay grants to these people to basically offset the rent. You know, that, yeah. Hello, the Diddler, how you doing? Whoopi claims that Gen Z and Millennial don't know what it's like to work hard, needs to work harder, but she's making nearly 750,000 per week. Yeah, she's just so out of touch. Like, all these people are just like, the cheek of these people who, you know, it's like, they'll work, yeah, it's like they can work hard sometimes, but like, they're earning a really good living. It's like, try working, you know, a dead-end job for like next to nothing. They've never actually probably known any time where they actually really worked that hard. A lot of these were born into privilege. So yeah. Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. Just talking about like how there's all these problems in the society that need to be fixed. You know, these, you know, like I said, that people shouldn't be forced to pay tax. You know, people should be able to have a choice to be able to pay it and be like wanting to support their local community. That should be how it goes. And they should only be taking whatever they need as well, because what tends to happen a lot of the time is they have like financial years, right? And they get given, they'll get given another grant every year of how much budget that they can spend. And what happens is if they don't spend the full budget, they get funding cut because they're seen as not needing that much money. So what tends to happen is that they will just buy a bunch of baloney that they don't even need, just so that they can get to that target, basically, of budget. So they end up just basically buying a bunch of equipment that they don't need, pissing people's money up in smoke is what they're doing. It's an absolute joke. But the thing is, if it was done in a more of a charity way, that they would only be using whatever's needed. They would try to get like funding from like the public, and that whenever they need it, create things like they would create things such as fundraising events to get funds. So things like, you know, you could create things like coffee mornings and things like that to create funds for to help people with things like welfare or anything like that. They could actually do better to actually help get certain people into some kind of employment. For example, have certain sort of businesses that would be good for people, say like who are neurodiverse, and try to help them to, start their own businesses and things like that, to start, have them have their own kind of, coffee shop or cafe or something like that. They could use some of the money as like give them grants to help them to start their own businesses, for example. So it would be like, it could go to things actually to help those that need it, to help people that, actually make something of their lives. Especially those that are a bit more disadvantaged, that might struggle otherwise. It would help to give those a leg up who might need it, but not for people to just bum off. So yeah, I just think that the whole system is completely just a joke, and it needs to be... Hello, Abby, where have you been? Not seen you all night. It's just been talking about like this whole system and how it's just not really fair, is it? And how things could be done better. Another thing that needs to be done is we should start seeing more fruit trees everywhere. Like, why is there not fruit trees everywhere? Why isn't there, you know, why are we not seeing... It's alright in York, they're alright for it, but we should have more. And a lot of other places have nothing like that, really. Like, there should be all kinds of fruits, there should be vegetables, patches, you know, they should have... Yeah, they should have that everywhere. They should have, you know, stuff for people to just pick. I mean, like, you've got people going to freaking food banks, but why should they have to be doing that? You know, I know that you could say there's a way that they could probably avoid it if they really wanted to and they did the research or whatever and learn how to make more money, but they should have free food everywhere. I think food should be a right, just like water and food and shelter. Like, the thing is, it's like you've got all these freaking corporations that bought up land. It's like, how do they have a right to all this land? I mean, they're just... I personally think that no one should really own land. I mean, it should be... yeah, smog's a big issue, yeah. It's like there shouldn't be... I think land should be like... I mean, or at least you shouldn't be able to like own more than a certain amount of land. And I think that when it comes to like food, I think we should just be able to like... You know, it should not be something of like a, you know, kind of, I mean, I've kind of like, you know, had some kind of, you know, changes of mind of things, and when it comes to like politics, and I actually think that any like food, water, it should be publicly available for people. Like, people trying to gatekeep things, trying to, you know, put things behind a paywall because they've made a claim to that land, they've decided it's theirs because they've paid money to get that land, because you didn't get there first, they took that land. Now, so who owned it to begin with is the question. Who was the first person to buy land? You know, because at one time we had the peasants and the peasant owners, basically feudalism. And now we're pretty much in just it's kind of like a glorified version of it when you think about it. Like, they're having people just kind of work all day so that they can buy food that they should already have where they live, but they gatekeep it with all these, you know, because they bought the land, they've now got these plantations that they own, but like, that should be, there should be food for us everywhere. There should be fruit trees, there should be vegetable patches everywhere. It should be different, you know, varieties of things. There shouldn't be all these like monocultures of like, it shouldn't be, you know, just one thing. There should be different things, variety of different crops and things. Below the peasants, you had serfs, they had it the worst. Yeah, serfdom is like the worst form of slavery, isn't it? Yeah. Because even the peasants, because they were like treated at least somewhat decently. But serfs were like the lowest of the pecking order, weren't they? So yeah, that was. But yeah, the thing is, it's like, you know, I was trying to like, you know, to be pro kind of like capitalist and whatever, and being like all about self responsibility and all that. But the thing is, it's like, it's harder for, I mean, like I said, it is possible for people to actually get themselves out of the Matrix and all that, but it's like, people shouldn't be having to like jump through so many hoops. Like I said, we should have things like food and shelter. You know, I don't think that, I don't know, it's just that when you've got frickin' all these rich people in their mansions and they're like, and most of these rooms aren't even being used, but you've got people on the streets. So, I don't think anybody should be on the streets. It's different from slavery. I'd have to look like more into it and like learn about the history of things, but yeah. Changing the topic, but yeah, people are saying my neck's gotten thicker, so yeah, so that's good. I don't think I've seen anything of Dale tonight, but yeah. Anyway, I might do a few, bit of a workout. I'll show you the workout stuff that I do. Yeah, so let me just, go in my room, so yeah. Anyway, let's just, think of something I can do. But yeah, this is, I use this like bag of weights sometimes. It's got a few kilos in it, so just kind of, yeah, just. Alright, I'll do a few crunches, I think. But yeah, I've never really looked into surfs, but I've actually heard that, like, I don't know how true this is, that the peasants only work 20 hours a week or something. I don't know. I don't know whether to like really believe that or not, but let's just yeah. Yeah, who's still here then? I'm gonna do a few of the side plank rotations that I was showing the other day. So this is what it looks like if you haven't seen it before. Alright, so I might restart the live, guys. It's kind of a bit slow, so might just have a quick toilet break as well. So yeah, guys, so I'll be back in a minute. See you all in a minute, guys.